Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Where I Went Wrong. And in this edition of Where I Went Wrong, I'll be doing Where I Went Wrong, UFC 281, Adesanya versus Pereira. Yeah, not my best card, but hey, as terrible as it went, I'm happy to at least win 500. I went 7-7, was at 7-14, horrendous, but hey, last week I was like +9, the other week I was like -2, so I think overall 3 weeks I'm +7, so hey, that's how bad this card is. You trying to dig through straw. That's how bad this card was to me. But hey, it is what it is. So first, yeah, I'm gonna go through the 7L. Like I ain't doing that 4 card thing. I'm just doing the 7L, which is half the card. But yeah. So my first L was Montel Jackson versus Julio Arce. And this one, it really kind of played out the opposite of how I predicted the fight go. But I think my mistake in this one is like being a little bit too wishful with Julio Arce and being a little bit disappointed with the growth I seen from Jackson. But Jackson was able, I think, early on. He was getting out valued a little bit early on, but he was landing the power. Then I guess to look into things like Jackson, his time to, but then it's not even a breakout performance from him. It was a good performance from him, but it's not like that breakout. Still not that breakout performance, but good performance. Shows some technical growth. Stay calm, stay composed, and he has the one that's showing more composure than Arce. And I think that height, that reach, that helped, and also the power helped. But nonetheless, the technique was there as well. So Jackson showed improvements he needed to make. Not necessarily his breakout performance, but I feel like this could parlay into his breakout performance. And now he's gonna probably fight a guy that's less technical. Arce is very underratedly technical, and now you might go up and say, "Oh, this guy is accomplished more in the weight class," but not as technical as Arce. Easier to hit, and then you're gonna really see Jackson show up. Like, where'd this come from? He didn't look all that great in his last fight. Nah, Arce is pretty good. He's very underrated. Then you can fight some guy that's supposedly a step up, and I think Jackson. That's when you're really gonna see that grow. But still remains to be seen. Hopefully, he don't get matched up with a wrestler, heavily BJJ wrestler, grappler, because he still has not addressed that yet. But yeah, Jackson got the job done, showed improvement. I guess my mistake was like being a little bit too wishful. Like Arce hadn't really accomplished much at this weight class either. He just, and also the whole cutting down, and this guy been at this weight class like younger and been at this weight class for like his whole career. Yeah, should have went with Jackson, but that was me trying to find dogs. Like that was me trying to find dogs. Like really trying to get a couple in there. And I think in this card, I think I picked a little more than I should, but ultimately that's not really the whole sum of where I went wrong in this fight, in this card. But yeah. Next one we had Carolina Kobakevich versus Savannah Gomez Juarez. And again, this is definitely dog chasing. Yeah, this definitely not dog chasing or nothing. I mean, I said this definitely is dog chasing. It's not dog chasing. It's definitely dog chasing. Yeah. Both 37. And I'm just get the point. Like my thing went behind that dog Silvana Gomez Juarez by like first round TKO, but even though Carolina had been skidding, she did just rebound with like a one win over a woman she already beat who was also older and just retired right after that loss. But nonetheless, when Carolina was on her skid, she was losing to pretty much for the most part some very solid fighters, and pretty well rounded fighters for the most part. And all that been said, I think the only person who really stopped her in the first round or really sparked her and got her out like that. I mean, she got tagged by fighters, but I don't think nobody else really put her out. Well, she got submitted by Gadelia, that's submission. And Gomez Juarez has no grappling, pretty much. And she got sparked by Jessica Andrade. And Andrade, as we know, he's like a Mack truck, so. And can do that to, matter of fact, she can do that to anyone if she connects, so. Yeah, she got sparked out cold by her, but she had, like I said, only one fight, and that was one of the better fighters. Savannah Gomez Juarez is nowhere near the level of any of those people that she lost to for the most part. So it was a close fight still, and the judges probably could have pulled out a win for Savannah Gomez Juarez. But even if she did, I would have been happy, like, hey, I got a win. That shouldn't be a win, but hey, I got it. Or it was very close, and I'd be like, hey, it is what it is. It would have been like, hey, what it is, but nonetheless, it is what it is. I think the thing is, like, to look at it is, both of these women are old. It's not like Savannah Gomez Juarez has such great power. I mean, she got some good power, good clean boxing, but she's not a great fight-ending power. And Carolina Kobakevich isn't Na Liang. And like I said, she only been stopped by a woman who could literally finish anyone, and Jessica Andrade. She could literally do that to anyone if she connects them. So to try to chase a knockout there, again, was a part of a dog chasing in that one. So both older, they both 36, 37. Carolina is not like, Carolina's a clearly more well-rounded fighter. Should have been a clear pick there, but dog chasing again. Next one, Macarola versus Otman Izatar. And with this one, I think Petrosky, I'm gonna say Petrosky, Macarola versus Izatar with this one. Yeah, with this one, let me slow down. Maybe I'm talking too fast, maybe I'm not. So let me slow down, let me get real smooth on the mic, I guess. So I guess the biggest one here with this one is Macarola has fought way better competition, has been able to stick around. Also, Izatar, was suspected of taking this, suspected of doing this, and doing that. They had him for like 2-3 years. So Frivola was the fresher man, making improvements, getting sharp. Whereas Izatar, came back after layoff, probably less than he was, and really make no growth. Like obviously, less than you were, you make no growth. You took some step backs and you've been inactive. Whereas Frivola's been making improvements, but still, it ended up being kind of a wild fight, a short wild fight, regardless. And like I said, I predict like Frivola still can help but get into that type of fight. But in actuality, he still prevailed in that fight. So I guess the biggest factor here was experience and activity versus inexperience and lack of activity. Yes, he kind of played Izatar's wheelhouse, but Izatar hadn't, like I said, he hadn't really been in it in a while, and yeah. But who knows? I can't really say Frivola's really gonna make those improvements. Frivola's still probably gonna be Frivola, to be honest. No insult to him, but the too willing to get into these scraps, that's not gonna get you too far in the division. Like it's gonna be like good, you got to win, but it's like you try so hard to learn your lesson, but you still end up in that same type of fight. You prevail, but it's like you getting rewarded for making poor decisions. Like, and right now it's gonna feel good, but when you start to stack some wins together, or you get further, like why can't I get ahead? It's gonna bite you again. Like it already bit you like twice, and it's gonna bite you again and again and again. He's gonna be probably one of those fun, exciting journeymen that put on to fight for fighters, could win and been in with some of the best. Maybe beat one of the best or one decent fighter or two decent fighters, but him himself can't really get ahead because he has that tendency to get caught up in these brawls and get caught up being sloppy at times because it's just in his nature. Yeah. Now to the next one. I'm not even counting these. It was like third L, 4L, I like 100, the 100th L of this card, but yeah, that went pretty good for it. Then this is probably my biggest L, Dominic Reyes, because he was one of my three most confident. My three most confident were Thurman and Blanchfield and Reyes. And Reyes just pooped the bed. That's what he flat out did. He just pooped the bed out there. But I could say that's a big one contributing factor to me, I guess I could say, with this one is that why put high confidence on a guy that's riding like a 3-fight losing streak and now a 4-fight losing streak, or high confidence should not have been the case. I feel like I like the stylistic matchup, but I don't think this loss was purely because Reyes is not who he used to be. I think it's large part of people just realizing who he is, and he's not in there with a guy like Jon Jones who doesn't really have power. And so when you get in there with a guy that got power, and also you're not making the smartest decision. I mean, it's not like Reyes is the smartest fighter. I'm not saying he's a dummy, but he's not like the super high IQ fighter that's gonna make those right adjustments. So it's a case of he's like treading down, and then also Reyes is treading down, and then also he's going with guys that can hurt him and have power to hurt him and size to hurt him. Now they're not a guy's like 5'11", 6 feet 6'1". It's like a guy that's your height, got more power than you. And they can take advantage of some of the stuff that you leave open. Like, I mean, he didn't take advantage of everything, but Reyes definitely circles heavily to one side and like leaves himself open to the body. Blackwoods took advantage of that. Jon Jones took advantage of it, but Jon Jones don't really got power or a legendary body kick like Blachowicz does. So a lot of Jon Jones did take advantage of it in the fight, but again, Jon Jones don't have the power, so he can take advantage of it for 5 rounds or all these rounds, but it don't have the same impact of a guy that's like has bludgeoning knockout power. But yeah, those areas were already open in Reyes, and I just think in this fight. Again, the IQ could have been a little bit higher, a good bit higher in that one. You see a guy that's come out there throwing full steam. It's like Span for such a clean technical fight. Span was fighting like a berserker out of hell. That man was fighting. He wasn't fighting very smart himself. And in reality, he almost got caught with he did get caught with like a counter hook at one point. If it could have landed clean or flushed, he might have been knocked out in the first round himself. But it's like I said, one of the sloppy fights. I mean, technically, not bad, but the approach and that much energy is spending is very sloppy. And Reyes could have maybe do some feints out there, do some jabs or something. Maybe just kept a high guard and maybe slipped and rolled and let the dude just wear himself out throwing shots. Maybe even like I said, let him unload a little bit. Not the smartest idea, but he really got a good block in there, block some shots, roll, slip, step to jab, don't feint, get off the cage, make him work, extend him out of that first round. But it's like Reyes got tagged a couple times, and he like say, you remember, maybe I can learn from this one. Maybe I can learn from this one. Maybe I can learn from this one. And to just like let him tire himself out this round. maybe like block some shots and let him try to work heavily for takedowns. Just get out of that first round. This guy has clearly put in it all on the first round, and then maybe in the later rounds you could have came in. But I just feel like when Reyes got caught, he tried to just he tried to get his licks back, and it was like a case where they both were throwing or both looking to throw, instead of a case where you get him in a you go I go, like you don't know who's going, like make him think about what he's about to throw next. Instead of like y'all both just saying like, hey, I'm gonna try to throw and get to him before he get to me, and it's like really. It's not the typical 50-50 exchange, but it's another form of 50-50 exchange where y'all both like almost turn into a jousting match. Who can get to who first and who can land cleaner. And Ryan Spann was faster. And actually, Ali in that position, he was the more fundamental fighter because he came behind, he came behind the jab. So, yeah, not the best thing for Dominic Reyes. But at this point, Dominic Reyes, like, I didn't think he needed to take a route outside of UFC. No insult to him, but he needed to take a route outside of UFC, build his wins back up, even if it's on the lowest level. Like, damn, you were here, now you fight in like a regional scene. But it is what it is. Like, people say, oh, I'm too good to go back to the regional scene. I'm too good to go here. But like, you need to get your wins back. You need to get your confidence back, or retire for the most part, because you're gonna keep getting brutal losses. You've been knocked out like brutally 3 times in a row, and it's not like these guys are gonna forget this, or it's like you can get so significantly better, unless maybe you can get some good stylistic matchups, which they are out there. But who knows if you're gonna take them, or you're gonna feel like I am Dominic Reyes, so you're gonna keep taking the hardest fight and keep getting knocked out. I mean, Spann was supposed to be an easier fight, but hell, maybe you need to go in there with like a grappler with low cardio and no power in the hands. And there are people like that in the weight class he could potentially beat, but yeah, it is what it is. But that has to be my biggest sell because it was a high confident. Is it the one I feel the worst about? Definitely not. But as far as confidence and like that factor, the worst pick by far. Then this fight, next fight we have Renato Moicano versus Brad Riddell, another case of dog chasing. And with this one, I'm just gonna be flat out honest with this one. Brad Riddell did show pretty decent takedown defense throughout his career in the UFC so far, and MMA so far. And he did have the skills and stuff, but unless you were kind of predicting him to knock him out or something, it's not like I said, even I said in prediction, Riddell hadn't really shown to be the biggest finisher in the UFC, so I can't really say he finished at all because maybe he hurt him a couple of times, and just landed cleaner shots. But I think Riddell's confidence was very shaky going that one after the Jalen Turner fight. He looked very gun-shy a lot of times. They look unsure of himself. But even that being said, he most confident. Renato Moicano was clearly the more well-rounded fighter. Had a height, reach, and length advantage over him. And again, Riddell don't have that finishing factor. Like, no, Fiziev has that finishing factor. He has that confidence. And Riddell doesn't have that. Riddell could be a good technical striker and all that stuff, but give him a height, give him a reach, and not really his power not really coming over into the UFC, at least as far as a stopping factor. So it seemed like almost inevitable that Moicano would at some point be able to get him to the ground and grapple with him. And no matter what, it'll be kind of a close fight, so he kind of leaned the guy that's most likely going to do a little bit more, maybe in a grappling situation. So Moicano was a smart money, but again, me chasing the dog. But it is what it is. I'm saying that's a lot of the video. It is what it is. This is the is what it is video. But yeah, as far as Riddell is, I feel like he kind of plateaued now. I really can't see him going for it. Obviously, this is not a guy that will climb the upper echelon, so his ceiling was already pretty much close. Moicano, I think his ceiling is pretty much close. I don't think these are either the upper echelon fighter. I feel like Moicano could be like a low upper echelon for like Brad Riddell, kind of more so middle or low middle of the pack, that's kind of submissive in that area. But yeah, they both can definitely pick up some more wins. It's not over for none of these guys. They both can definitely bounce. I mean, Moicano won, so he don't have to bounce back. He just could to go back to winning or add another win or look to go for it. Riddell, what is like his second L or maybe even third L in a row or something. Yeah. But yeah, still lean to the more well-rounded guy with the height and the reach over him. And then I went pretty good for like 2 fights. And I guess now the Poirier versus Chandler fight. Yeah, with Dustin Poirier versus Chandler. Chandler was doing pretty good. I think even the first and second, I think in the third round, like because I think in the end of the first round, he was aggressive, like, but as you should be trying to go for finish. But then he got caught and lost a round. In the second round, he was cheating a little bit around, but he still got to take down. But as far as going for the finish, he was definitely cheating in that second round. And then third round, I think he was so eager to get back to that position, not be on the feet with Poirier, that Poirier kind of took advantage of that. reversed him, then tapped him out third round. But good win for Poirier. He still got some left in the tank. He still got some hunger. Regardless, none of these guys got nothing for these new guys. To be honest, I think Poirier gonna get embarrassed yet again when he step up against a younger fighter in Chandler. I think Chandler his thing's about done. He could bring some more exciting fights, but now he's gonna be reserved for that exciting guy who can't in the UFC who can't get over. Because now, like I said, these people only getting younger, only getting better. He wasn't gonna beat Makachev. Probably ain't gonna beat this guy, beat that guy, but maybe the older guys in the division he could beat, or maybe some guys. But at this point, I just feel like it's gonna be nothing but L's for him from here. I can't really think of anyone he can necessarily beat in that top fight. He has a potential chance to beat Dariush, potentially. But I think Dariush knocks him out at this point or submits him at this point. But the only reason I'm saying Dariush because Dariush can be a little bit chinny, can get sloppy at times, and Chandler does have some heavy hands. But I also had to favor Dariush, so I can't really say anyone he necessarily beats. Yanrod maybe, but again, he only getting older. These guys only getting further in their prime. So yeah, Chandler's path definitely shrunk out there. If he would beat Poirier, he could have probably jumped into a title shot. But now after losing to Poirier and Gaethje, now he's 0-2 against people that could get him into title shots or give him a relevant placing in the division. Now it's chasing scraps now. So poor roll of the dice, I guess. But as far as from me aspect, I don't know. Chandler had been in some decent submissions. But I guess the thing is, Chandler has only beaten guys that were skidding. He beat Hooker, who was skidding. Well, he only was come off a fight of the night with Poirier, so he was all that skidding. So people would try to use that against him, but he wasn't all that skidding in that fight. And then he beat Ferguson, who obviously super skidding. But yeah, I guess, as a matter of fact, I'd say the most points to this one, I just underestimated Poirier, and I thought he was it wasn't all the way there no more. I thought he was I know I can't beat this guy, but I'm going to collect a couple checks, and I thought Chandler would be able to get by him. But maybe he probably would have been able to get by him if he didn't try to do the fish hook that woke Poirier up, made him mad. And then he took that energy to the second round and got him out of there. So maybe if he didn't do that fish hooking, he could have just controlled him. Instead of trying to go for a submission, he could have just controlled him. And maybe Poirier wouldn't have, woke up Poirier I'm going to sell hot sauce. I'm going to sell hot sauce. Wait, get your finger out of my mouth. I'm mad now. Now he was kill mode. I mean, he was always in kill mode, but he was in I think that woke him up. That angered him and woke him up. He probably been comfortable taking an L, maybe getting laid on for the third round. Or been a lot of time in that third round, but I think that made him lock in. That made him lock in. But good win for Poirier, bad L for me. And that's my 6th L. Then 7th L, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Yeah, this is the last L. Adesanya was 4-1. Well, 3-1 going to the main event. 3-1 going into the final round. 0-2 against Pereira going into the final round. As far as the actual wins and losses, now he's 0-3 against Pereira, but I guess he just is Anthony Pettis. He's to Adesanya's Ben Henderson. Pereira is his Anthony Pettis, and now he's got to work with Ben Henderson. Only lost twice to Anthony Pettis, and Adesanya has now lost him 3 times, stopped twice. I thought he could continue, but it is what it is. Maybe he needs to learn how to butt scoop. Maybe he needs to do this. Maybe he needs to do that. But nonetheless, the theme repeats. He could look good and be leading, and then just takes one shot, and that's all she wrote. And Pereira gets the win. But yeah, it's not as simple as that. I think Adesanya, even if I'm not saying now I just noticed because he lost again that he has been declining. I feel like he's been declining. I feel like overall as a mixed martial artist, he has improved. We clearly saw in the graph in the 3rd round. But as striker, I feel like he's been declining, pretty much with just about every single fight he's taken in the UFC. Maybe is a champion, maybe, but I feel like in general, I feel like the sharpest he ever looked striking to me probably was around the Tavares fight, as far as in the UFC, Tavares Brunson fights. People might say the Whitaker fight. I don't feel like Whitaker he looked all sharp. Obviously, Kevin Gastelum he looked all sharp. I know a lot of people size up the Costa fight, but I don't feel like he looked all sharp. I feel like the cleanest performance of striking from him I ever seen was the Brad Tavares fight. He looked much sharper, looked like a much better killer. Everything just on point. His boxing, his hands, everything on point. But I feel like his hands been decreasing for a long time now. And I think he adapted his kind of a square stance that he likes to stay in a lot. and that leaves him very open to the jab. You've seen these little shorter guys like Kelvin Gastelum be able to push his head back, Whitaker be able to push his head back. Literally just about anyone be able to push his head back because he stands square and then he like little bounce side side and kick you. So he like to that little square option there, but that leaves you very open to the jab. And even when he was in kickboxing, he actually had like a little bit of shoulder roll that I don't see in MMA no more. I don't see it in MMA at all from him. In kickboxing, he had like a little shoulder roll, like he could roll the jab and like he has things, different tools. He wasn't as square. But I feel like in MMA, I think to defend the takedown or maybe to deal with wrestlers and grapplers, like maybe he adopted more of a square stance or at least incorporated a stance in his game that's kind of square and he's in a lot or he ends up in a lot. Because now you kind of get those double underhooks, you could better defend a takedown or something. It's not like these guys can really reach you or have the same level of skill, so he can, he can give them something, and also maybe he draws them into hooks and stuff. But when you go into with another high level striker, with a bigger than you, longer than you, and you square like that, I think the biggest thing that Pereira did was the jab. He might feel like it was the calf kick, he might feel it was the hook, but I feel the jab was what set everything up. Because every time Pereira was touching with the jab, which Adesanya couldn't really even dodge because again you square. That's the reason why people in boxing adapt that kind of like a little sideways stance so they could easily slip the jab. When you square like this, it's so hard to move and dodge jab. But like when you in a more traditional boxing stance, it's harder. I mean, also he probably could adopt a different defense for like maybe a lead hand trap and play with that a little bit more so that the jab wouldn't be there. But maybe but even then with lead hand, like Pereira hook is off the lead hand too, so if you can control the lead hand, you really just take away a lot of Pereira's effectiveness. I know he was doing like a double hand grip type thing, like he was framing and trying to grab his wrist and stuff, but which is pretty effective as well. But again, that also makes you square as well. So it's like and open for the jab. I think eventually, like I said, he was so worried reacting to the jab, man. Every time he was getting caught with the jab, he was clenching up because it was making him uncomfortable, and he couldn't really have no answer to it from that stance. And then yeah. And maybe even defensively wise, he was already winning the fight. Maybe he could just went high guard, blocked, and just slipped when he got hurt. But I think he started to try to move his head too much, and was getting connected with. But when he could have maybe did like that, mix it up a little bit, block different shots, and then maybe when Pereira overcommitted, he could have ducked under and tried to clinch up with him, and could have just won 3-2 against Pereira. But now he's 0-3, and it is what it is. But yeah, I think Adesanya's been declining the striking department and. He still was winning this fight, and he was definitely making improvements. I definitely think he can win the next fight, but smart money got to be on Pereira. Like, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me thrice. Gotta just go with what's the history. The historics are there. You can't go against the historics. If Adesanya wins, good for him. I'll be happy for my outside of prediction-wise. I want him to win. I want him to destroy Pereira, but I want him to go back, knock him out 2 times, knock him out 3 times, to go to the house and knock him out in front of his wife and kids. I want him to get all that back. Like, yeah, this man got your number, but as far as just a prediction standpoint, non-biased, I got to go Pereira next time. The fight's most likely going to happen next. And as far as Pereira's, I think right now, his trajectory, I feel like he could go up and probably knock out Prohaska, to be honest. Prohaska ain't really got much for him, to be honest. He can knock Prohaska out. Chinny, head on the swivel all the time. Put his head right there for you. I feel like he can destroy Prohaska, but as far as defending that either way class, I feel like Vince's when some of these grapplers come around, his grappling needs a lot of improvement. Especially getting out grappled by Adesanya, who didn't even really go all that comfortable in the grappling department himself. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, I guess with this one, I could have my thing is to lean to historics. Like, it's not like Adesanya's gonna make so much grappling. Obviously, he did use grappling, but I wasn't predicting him to use grappling like that anyway. But Pereira had already beaten him twice in kickboxing, so historics were already there, and now they're even more so. So I guess that's my mistake. And yeah, that's the video. Again, I went 7-7, 7-14. I really ain't mad at it, but it's a terrible card, and I'm gonna go into the next card really hoping to kill that, and I'm gonna do my best to kill that next card, and really just try to every time I take some of these L's, I gotta go back to I guess safe mode in a sense, not like favorite mode, but it might seem like favorite mode right now. But it's gonna be like the most simple and consistent way of looking at it. Not just looking at what could be, but like statistics, historics, and who has more paths to win and who can better exploit the other guy, instead of just like, you know, as much wishful thinking or as much dog chasing, but like chase the right dogs and that's about it. Chase the right dogs, but don't just assume every dog. Like look at like the Riddle, Riddell and Moyana fight is a perfect example of that. Moyana had more ways to win, and he had the height and the reach and all that stuff. Yes, Riddell had this and that, but it's not like Riddell had shown that finishing intent and power in the UFC yet, and that consistency. So like, should lean to the wall around the guy in that one. So I'm saying reduce picks like that, and maybe more so go for like the Trezano picks, like where you clearly see a guy in Choi becoming too predictable, and both guys' skill level relatively even. Yes, this guy had more success, but he's becoming way too predictable. And this guy has all the skills to take advantage of him if he's going to be predictable. And predictability is probably the biggest weakness to have in MMA. And that's what you're going to, in combat sports or anything competitive. And if you're going to have that weakness, you will be exploited. But yeah, that's the card. So again, 7-7, 7-14. I'll be back. I'll be better. On to the next one. And that's the video. Peace.